I don't think work ruined my friendships. It was the result of my own actions and assumptions. For years, I convinced myself that I was simply ambitious. I didn't have time for people. That growing in my career meant naturally growing apart from friends. Looking back now, I don't think that was true. Some friendships ended because people changed, and that's okay. But there are genuinely few good people that I pushed away for no reason other than believing my career mattered more. This video is another chapter in my journey of decentering work, of learning how making the career my entire identity shaped the rest of my life, including my friendships. Welcome to Building a Bigger Life, where I'm documenting my journey of building a life that's bigger than my career. So, I have been fortunate to build a career that I genuinely love. I entered cybersecurity almost by accident and discovered that it was exactly what I wanted to do. And I threw myself into it. I worked hard, got recognized early, received promotions quickly, and every achievement reinforced the belief that I had to keep pushing. But then a pattern started emerging with the early promotions. So, looking back, I had two friends from my first company who were genuinely kind people. We used to have lunch together, gossip, and they were always cheerful and supportive despite dealing with their own problems. But then when I moved to Bangalore, which is my current city, I slowly stopped making any effort to stay in touch. One of them reached out several times, but I always had work as an excuse. Deep down, I had convinced myself that I had outgrown the friendship. I told myself that I needed ambitious people around me, people who are climbing the corporate ladder like I was. I dismissed them as being too carefree. Today, when I look back, I realize there was absolutely nothing wrong with them. Then there was another close friend whom I constantly kept at arm's length. Whenever he wanted to meet, I would say I was busy, and whenever I needed emotional support, I would make myself available. I know that was incredibly selfish of me. I even remember telling him that my work was more important when he needed my advice or support, which was, of course, wrong. At the time, I thought I was making mature decisions. Now I realize I was sacrificing good relationships for the version of success that demanded everything from me. There were other friendships that could have grown into something meaningful as well, but I never reached out. My ego had become too big to take the first step. At that time, I never really thought that these decisions would have consequences. So I have always been an introvert, right? So I kept telling myself that I was perfectly happy being alone. Part of that is, of course, true. I genuinely enjoy my own company. I love having my me time. But there is a difference between choosing solitude and having no one to call when life falls apart. And that difference hit me very hard during COVID. My long term relationship collapsed in a very painful way, and I did not have a single close friend I felt comfortable calling. Instead of asking for help, I tried to numb everything. I drank more. I binged on junk food. I slept for hours. I cried myself to sleep. Couldn't focus on work. Then I started looking for connections in completely wrong places. I downloaded dating apps and repeatedly chose emotionally unavailable people or people who I thought I could fix. Now, what I now realize is that I wasn't really looking for a relationship. I was looking for companionships to share things, to talk to be cared for. And then around the same time, my health also started declining, and there were other things I couldn't even share with my family. I was successful on paper, but I had never felt lonelier. Therapy helped connect a lot of dots. I realized this pattern didn't begin when I started working. It started way earlier than that. So, growing up, I was constantly told to study harder, score higher, and stay in the top ranks. Friendships were always secondary, even at that time. Even in school, I lost a close friend because I was encouraged to focus entirely on preparing for entrance exams. I was never allowed for night outs at my friend's place. Camping trips were like exceptions, and I had to plead and beg for all of those things. And without realizing it, I carried that same template into adulthood. Now, whenever something important came along, friendships became the first thing I sacrificed. Work replaced academics, promotions replaced grades, recognition replaced report cards. I also started attaching my worth to my career. The higher I climbed, the more I believed I should only surround myself with ambitious people. I judged people who weren't career focused. I assumed I had outgrown them. Ironically, I ended up making friends based on job titles instead of shared values. And when I started creating things outside work, like my website and this content, many of those relationships weren't really there for me to support me. And then along with that came another painful realization that I was choosing people based on professional identity instead of genuine human connection. Today things look very different, on some level at least. I'm married to someone who is emotionally available, kind, and genuinely my best friend. I also have one very close friend who I deeply value. But I have realized that if I don't change the way I approach friendships, history will repeat itself. So these days, I'm actively trying to separate my work identity from my personal identity. When I meet someone, I don't want to evaluate them based on ambition, job title, intelligence, or whether they fit into my idea of success. I want to know who they are as a person. I'm also trying not to swing to the other extreme by becoming a people pleaser or desperately looking for friendships just because I'm lonely. Instead, I'm trying to build slower, healthier, and meaningful relationships. I'm learning to notice my judgmental thoughts as well without immediately acting on them. I still catch myself thinking that someone isn't ambitious enough or we don't have enough in common. Earlier, I would distance myself from someone who was not ambitious like me. Now, I challenge that instinct. I want to give people the chance that I never gave to so many of my good friends years ago. I'm also hoping to join communities or volunteer somewhere so I can actually meet new people outside my work domain. I know it will take time and honestly, it still feels uncomfortable. But this is what decentering work means to me. It's not just working fewer hours, it's learning to let people know me beyond my job title. If you have been following this series, you will know that this entire journey is about rebuilding a life that isn't centered around work. For me, friendships are one of the biggest pieces I have neglected. I'm curious if you have experienced something similar. Have you ever sacrificed relationships because you thought success had to come first? Let me know in the comments. And if you are also trying to build a life outside of work, consider subscribing. That's what exactly this channel is about.